you and the leadership that you provide and the hope that you provide. So please join me in welcoming my dear friend, a champion for all of us, Senator Cory Booker.
I really apologize. This day has gotten really challenging as a result of some of the breaking news that we've seen over the last 48 hours or so. But I just want to thank everybody here. First of all, Alan was overly generous. He's been inspiring me in every step of my professional life since we've connected, and I'm grateful for him and the leadership of this organization. I would be remiss if you know me at all. In my Senate office, over my chair, every single day sits a map of the Central Ward of Newark. It is in my heart. It's where I still live. I go home. In fact, there's 100 senators. I go home to a community that is rich with spirit, wealthy in heart and conviction. Even though the median income is about $14,000 per individual, some of the most heroic Americans I've ever met in my life live and reside in that section of Newark, New Jersey. And there's a woman here who is a legend in our community. I just want to give my love to Ms. Wallace, who I see here. Oh my God. Her husband, God rest his soul, have been standing in the breach for more than my lifetime, literally standing in the breach for a nation that sometimes confuses what makes us great. What makes our nation great is not the size of our buildings, the size of our government, it's not the wealth of our wealthiest. What makes our nation great is how we provide pathways for every single child. And while some people want to talk about exploiting natural resources, oil, gas, coal, even sunlight, the reality is the greatest natural resource this country has, especially now in a global knowledge-based economy, is the genius of our children. And we are not doing well. We are have to have some sense of shame, in fact, that 20% of our children are born in poverty, and that unfortunately other nations who have social mobility indices, it's a measurable indice, the ability to bring poverty and terrorists into our competitor countries, and that's not just something about the generosity of spirit of doing things for our young people. That is actually a critical aspect of economic competitiveness in the long term. And so Ms. Wallace and I know how brilliant the young people in our community are, how extraordinarily creative, how if you, in fact, one of the best returns on energy, effort, resources, and love is that you're going to get is giving it to kids like the ones in our community. And so that's my fight. That's why I keep the Central Ward of Newark over my head when I sit in this office. That's why I will never forget where I came from and the people that put me in the political game in the first place, electing me to my first office. I want to just wrap this up by saying I'm proud that this is not a partisan game for me. You guys heard from truly the best big, bald, black senator already. Truly the best of all the many of us that are in the Senate, already from Tim Scott. Different side of the aisle, different political beliefs in many ways, but he and I have found common ground within our conviction for young folks. And he's a guy that saw a tougher pathway, an unconventional pathway to where he is. And it's his testimony that if somebody's given a shot, if you're given a shot, you're going to thrive. My father, born poor. In fact, he would lecture me, don't tell those folks, Opportunity Nation, I was born poor. Tell them the truth, I was just PO, P-O. My father was born poor, segregated environment, single mom. All the data against him, because people intervened in his life when his mama couldn't take care of him, just gave him a little bit of love, a little bit of support, a little bit of a hand up. He was able to thrive in this country. And that's what's really needed right now. And I'm sorry, but our juvenile justice system is a dark area of shame in this country, what we do to our children. Yes. Some of which other countries call torture, things like solitary confinement. It's a shame. Our foster care system, which has many actors in it that are noble and kind and generous, but it needs a lot more support and a lot more change and transformation. Our prenatal work in this country is abysmal, what we do for children before they're born and preparing pathways for their health and success. The environmental realities our kids grow up. Ms. Wallace knows this. We live in a toxic city where they wouldn't even let me, when I was doing urban farming, plant in the ground because of the lead content. We had to do it in boxes. Where our river is an Agent Orange site, where the air and the toxins that we breathe, the number one reason why kids are missing school in America is asthma. All of these reasons are just demonstrate that we're not doing what we should be doing with a conviction to empowering young people. But yet here's organizations like this that understand that even with all of these challenges, there are key. Archimedes said, give me the right lever, I can move the world. That we can find those Archimedes points for this incredible talent in a country that's hurting. Talk to manufacturers in America, and they're so frustrated. When I brought all the manufacturers in Newark together, I thought they complained to me about Obamacare or taxes. The first thing they said is, we can't find machinists. We can't find, skilled manufacturers. We can't find. I sat with a group telling me yesterday that just the truck engine repair, and these are folks that are making $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year. And so we now know that if we get young people the right kind of tools that they need to get the skills for the 21st century economy, they will thrive. And there's ways to create those linkages and those Archimedes points. But this is what's missing, and I say this with my staff freaking out here, that I am so late for this next meeting, but I just want to say that this is the one thing that's missing right now. And the problem, I'll bring it to this, is poverty. And I'm not talking about in a material sense, not that kind of poverty. What we have right now is a poverty of compassion, a poverty of empathy, and a poverty of passion about these issues. And that's why I get so excited about the group I'm standing before right now, is because we all have to take our own responsibility. We will be the ignition points that lights this world on fire about focusing on our young people.
That's right.
If we focus on our young people, then we will ensure that this nation in the generations ahead will be just as great as it has been in generations in the past. I thank you. You have my love and my support. Appreciate it.